Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. You know, you can't read the paper, you can't get online, you can't come on our show, you can't go on a podcast or a video cast without people talking about privacy right now, internet privacy. What's going on with something that's called privacy governance? And it's such an important sort of framework that people are talking about right now, because really what we're talking about are policies and procedures relating to privacy of personal information. And what's more important than that? I mean, you hear about data breaches all the time. You hear about privacy concerns all the time. There's so much going on in the privacy world. We wanted to bring a real expert in the field on the show. So we've been able to book today Mr. Gordon Summers. And Gordon is the Chief Executive Officer of ECMRMIG, and they're a privacy governance company. They do such great work. They're known throughout the United States and throughout the world for what they do. So, Gordon, I'm so happy to have you on the show. We have so many questions. Welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thank you for welcoming me.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's great to have you on the show. I mean, we have so many questions about, privacy, information governance, and what's going on with technology in today's world with regard to privacy and personal information. But before we get started, let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet. Tell us about ECMRMIG, and then we go.
Okay, well, ECMRM was originally formed in 2015, but we went through some evaluation processes as far as when we wanted to launch this company. We officially launched in February of 2019 as a technology company, but we realized that even though we had over 30 years plus years experience with technology, we also had 30 plus years in data ingestion and privacy issues related to data ingestion. So that's what pretty much triggered our redirection of the company to more privacy issues.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's such a great space to be in. You're in the middle of it all, obviously. And for companies, when we think about it, I would imagine, Gordon, that real companies really need to have a policy and a procedure sort of framework, I guess you could call it. So maybe we could talk about it. What types of companies reach out to you, Gordon, and what's that first conversation sound like?
Well, we've had quite a few companies reach out to us related to data ingestion and data privacy, the practice of data privacy. We've had some companies from Europe reach out to us, as well as some companies here in the US. I can't name, I'm not obligated to name those companies, who are very interested in what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, that makes sense, of course. And for the people watching the show that, maybe they're not even thinking about this. Maybe they're a startup entrepreneur that's sort of getting their minimal viable product out, and they're not even thinking down the road about how important this is. Maybe you could share the importance of what we're talking about with regard to privacy and why that really is one of the most important things when we think about sort of a technology package.
Yeah, well, your privacy, people have to understand, and one of the goals of ECMRMIG is to teach our customers the importance of their privacy. In other words, any data that you create or any data that you ingest on any platform is your personality. And that's where we start at when it comes to privacy. We're trying to teach our customers that your privacy, your data is all in your hands. You control who has your data. And what we've seen over the years is that companies have pretty much told customers that their data is protected when actually their data is not protected. And I'm one of those customers. So that was a part of what motivated me to say, look, we need to approach the whole privacy market.
Wow, isn't that interesting? I mean, there you were a customer, you thought that your data was secure and private, and then perhaps, maybe it got breached, maybe it got released, something happened that made you start thinking about there has to be a better way. And here we go, 2022 right now, and you're becoming a leader in this space. Let's talk about it a little bit, because one thing that's very interesting is when we go on our phones, when we go online, People now have an expectation that sort of you're going to be tracked a little bit. People are going to be following you around. And what really is sort of the expectation from your perspective, Gordon, from someone just surfing the web? Should they expect a level of privacy, or should they just sort of go into it saying to themselves, it's just, it's the wild, wild west. Everyone's going to get.
No, they should expect a high level of privacy, not a low level of privacy. Our goal really is to give the user, the author, the owner of that data, control of that data. So what we have done is we have actually developed a tool that is currently on the market that does exactly that. It gives control to the customer, to the author of their data. And it's a privacy tool, and it will protect their data. We almost guarantee it. So yeah, if you want to approach it with the Wild Wild West, you have that option. But with our tool, you have the option to keep control of your privacy.
That's fascinating. Let's talk a little bit about the tool. Tell us what the name of the tool is and how do people sort of get using the tool.
Yeah, the tool is called KYD, Keep Your Data. It means keep your data. We're about to add an additional letter to it. It'll be called KYD/P for privacy. It's a tool that you can use really on most browsers. There are a few browsers I think that we are having some challenges with, but these are not popular browsers. What it does is it allows you to go to any browser, any website that you want, and visit any website that you want. You can search those websites, and at the time you're finished with those websites, if you don't want to keep your data there, you can ask the tool, the actual tool itself, to protect your data. And what it does is it will block your metadata. Now, metadata is another form of data that people really don't pay attention to. They hear the word data and they just pretty much follow data. Metadata is the actual information about you. And that's where the concentration of the tool focuses on. The concentration of what you ingest into those browsers, what you ingest into those websites. So you have a freedom you have the choice to either you want to give your data to these companies or you don't want to give the data to these companies. And that's what the tool does for you. That's what Keep Your Data does for you.
Well, I love it, Gordon. It's so interesting. In other words, take back your data. Stop surrendering your data. Exactly. Really just by giving it away. And, I love what you say. You created it. You own it. So control your data, in an unlimited fashion with the KYD, which is keep your data, right?
Right.
All right, let's talk about it just a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit more about this metadata, because people might not understand really what that is. So let's keep it super, high level. Let's not get too much into the weeds. I know you like to do that. For someone that doesn't really understand it watching the show, they go on a website. Let's talk about what that metadata means and who's collecting that.
Yeah, well, the metadata actually is the information about the user, the person that's actually going on the website, that's actually looking up information, that's visiting a website, that's trying to find information. That's once you log on to a website, that website has what's called cookies and other parts of it that collects that information that you're ingesting into that website. Users have a choice, and I continue to stress this. You have a choice. You can go to any website and submit your data to these companies if that's what you choose. But when you come back and you find out that your information has been hacked, your information is being kept, and all this is being done now without the consent. Now the companies will tell you that you're using their websites for free, but if they're giving you free access to the website, how is it that your data is being hacked? How is it that your privacy is being taken? And why isn't there no consent to these websites?
Yeah, it's so interesting, of course, and you're trying to solve that big problem and have done a great job with it with the platform, Gordon. Let's talk about hacking, high level again. I don't want to get too much into the weeds. I know you always are thinking about it, as the CEO of ECMRMIG. How prevalent is the hacking? I mean, we're everyone's going about our day. You know, we're living day to day. We're not even thinking about what's happening behind the scenes. But I would imagine hacking attacks are happening continuously, and we just don't hear about them because a lot of them don't actually.
Hacking occurs 24/7. It's a business itself. It's probably worth over trillions of dollars worth of personal information. And there's something called the dark web, which I'm sure people have heard about, where all this information is being stored. Also, companies that are very well known is storing data too, and they're being hacked. So hacking is an ongoing process. So one of the things we're trying to accomplish with KYD is we're trying to teach the customer, the owner, that all this information that they are ingesting into these sites is about them. So if you want people to know about you freely, that's your choice. If you don't want people to know about you freely, then you have a choice. You can block all of your information if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah, I love it. Let's talk about it. So people are interested. They've heard about KYD. How do they get it? Is it ready to roll? Is it a SaaS model? How does it work?
No, KYD, you can get KYD off of, we're right now on the Edge store, and we're on the Google Chrome store. You can download it. You would have to register your email, and there's a couple of security steps you would have to go through to create an account to use the product.
Love it. Now, you have a very, very fascinating sort of entrepreneurial background. You've been at this for a long time. You know, when we think about what you're doing, we oftentimes think about the team. So let's talk about the team at ECMRMIG. You know, when you think about the team that you have there, what's the thing that's a standout for you about your particular team?
I have a committed team. I have a team that has made me very proud. And they've also reminded me of how humble I am. These are some very dedicated folks. We have a tremendous developer who developed the actual product, and we're now in the process of actually enhancing that product into something even broader than what we currently have. So I have a terrific team.
Yeah, it's very interesting. When you think about hiring, you know, for the entrepreneurs watching this show, you know, what are you looking for in a hire, Gordon? Are you, if somebody comes to you, are you looking for the background and experience? Are you looking for their passion and commitment, honesty, or some combination thereof?
Yeah, I think a combination of thereof. But we're also a company that's heavily involved into training folks. So we're really looking at the very young generation, but we also are looking at the very knowledgeable generation as well. So we're kind of open. We're very open, but we are hiring. We are looking for young folks, and we are definitely looking for experienced folks as well.
Yeah, I love it. And of course, you know, looking at your background and experience, you're a big believer in surrounding yourself with talented people. I know you're doing some mentoring as well. When we talk about entrepreneurship, Gordon, let's talk about this just for a minute. How important is it, do you believe, to surround yourself with people that have talents that you don't have, or mentors that can advise you to help you, you know, move along in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, that's extremely important. I know for me, I have my primary developer who's a couple of years younger than me. I won't say how many years younger than me. But having him has been like the ultimate blessing for me, because he's constantly teaching me things that I haven't seen on the technology side. And of course, the younger generation now, this technology is really made for them. You know, so he definitely teaches me as well as I mentor him and stuff. So I'm always looking for folks that can teach me things I'm not aware of. I'm never too old to learn. The various processes that are out there.
Yeah, I love it, Gordon. Of course, in your life and at the company as well, you have some sort of a give back to the community type of a mindset. You know, you're involved with a number of different causes. How important is it, do you think, for entrepreneurs in their journey to give back to the community that, you know, that they serve?
Well, to me, that's extremely important. My goal, though, is to not only give back to my local community, but to actually give back to the world community. That's the actual goal of ECMRMIG. So, we're going to always be a giving company, but we're also going to be a company that's focused around protection too. So,
yeah, I like that very much. Of course, now your company, as it evolved, you were doing, and I want to know if you're still doing it, the IT consulting and the software developing and the data analysis and the content compliance. Well, you started there. Are you still doing that now?
Yes, we're going to always be an IT focused company, but our general focus is around data privacy and data management, with the IT packages included. So we will always be a technology company. Even though we are talking about exploring other ventures, I won't name those ventures, but you never know.
Yeah, I like it, Gordon. No, you're somewhat of a zeitgeist, someone that is a forward thinker. I mean, you have to be staying ahead of all the privacy framework concerns that are out there. How does you and your team stay abreast of everything that's happening in privacy? It just seems like you can't, read a periodical or go to a newspaper or watch a television show without some new type of privacy concern happening. How do you stay abreast on all the information?
Yeah, we pretty much have we have association membership with the various privacy organizations, as well as we have quite a few subscriptions related to privacy issues. But we also have membership in various technology platforms and various technology organizations. That has pretty much helped us keep up to date with what's going on with technology and privacy as a whole.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Obviously, more and more people are going to start using the KYD, the keep your data. And then you have another initial on top of that, which is the P now, the keep your data and privacy.
Right.
But let's talk simple. For someone that, hasn't signed up for the KYD yet or the KYDP, are there some basic pieces of advice that you can give to the people watching the show on how to keep themselves safe online?
Yeah, my basic advice to folks when it comes to their data is to pay attention. You have to be on your P's and Q's when you are applying for this, or you want to find this, or you're looking for this. None of these sites, the internet itself is not free. So don't assume that it is free. That would be the advice I would give to folks who have not seen or used KYD as of yet.
Yeah, very interesting. Let's talk about apps for a minute, because a lot of people have apps. They're all over our phones. We're in and out of the apps all the time. How do we keep our privacy on those apps? Is there any way to do it?
Well, KYD is an app, and it actually can store your data, but we're not a storage company. We refuse to take people's data and store it for them. We will do that at the consent of the person, of the individual, but at a cost. So we're not a collected type of company. We don't collect data from other companies, and we don't collect data from our customers. We do keep internal data related to the company and related to staff, but that's pretty much it. As far as you maintaining your data on an app, that would depend on the policy of the app maker and what they want to do with your data. If they want your data, then they're going to have your data. If that's what you choose. Our app does not do that.
Yeah, very interesting. What's the future? What's it look like, Gordon, in your mind? What do people have to be fearful of? What do they need to be thankful of with regard to their privacy as we move down the path?
Well, I think people need to continue to be fearful of the hacking that's going on and the continuous ransomware, because these technologies are getting, and these individuals are getting more and more advanced. What they can be thankful for is there's more privacy companies that are, at least one other privacy company besides my company, that's very, very concerned about protecting people. So there are companies now that you can look to help you protect your privacy. And our methodology, it does focus around the whole behavior pattern of the user, and it sort of teaches them how to protect themselves from hacking and etc. So there are benefits. There are organizations that do look out for the customer.
Yeah, I love that, Gordon. Of course, you mentioned that you just don't want to give back to the community. You want to give back to the entire world, and that's what you're doing. I love that. Now, let's get into entrepreneurship before I let you go. I know you're super busy protecting everybody out here. When we think about it, okay, we have younger entrepreneurs watching the show, and sometimes they hit a roadblock. Sometimes they hit a pothole in the road, maybe a big wall they can't get through. Based on your experience, what type of advice can you give to the younger entrepreneurs about how to keep on pushing as an entrepreneur?
Keep on, exactly. You just said it yourself. You have to keep on pushing. That is the best way. Just don't give up on your dream. If you have a dream, go for it and continue to go for it. And it will evolve into what you want, which is, I have to admit, I have experienced difficulty as an entrepreneur, and what kept me going was that I was determined to help others. And now things are starting to really fall in place for me and the company, and we're just hopeful that we can, help millions and maybe billions of folks out there with these issues, these privacy issues.
I love it. I'm very happy I got you on the show prior to this hockey stick growth curve that you're going to experience, because I won't be able to book you down the road. One thing that comes to mind, Gordon, when we talk, and that's great advice, just keep on pushing, is this can-do attitude. Because right. As an entrepreneur, you have a can-do attitude.
Right.
Some people have this can't-do attitude where they can't do anything. They don't believe they can. How important is this can-do attitude to what you're doing at ECMRMIG?
Well, it's extremely important, not only to ECMRMIG, but just as an entrepreneur, period. You have to have a positive attitude about yourself in order to accomplish what you want as an entrepreneur. If you have faith in your own capabilities, you can pretty much conquer the world. I'm not trying to conquer the world. I'm actually trying to help the world, but self-confidence plays a major role in how you accomplish things in life. And I also have this whole thing where the creator comes first, and my family is second, and my company is third. And that has worked for me, and I'll push that at every option I get.
I love that, Gordon. Of course, you're moving forward with gratitude and just the same way that I am all the time, every single day, every single minute. So listen, this has been so great. I want to bring you back on the show because you mentioned something earlier about that dark web. I want to bring you on the show and do a full 30 minutes on that because there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, the dark web is exactly that, the dark web. That is a very long discussion.
Yeah, we're going to get on the show again. I'm going to bring you back. We're going to call it, the dark web. The dark web with Gordon. Listen, this has been a great interview. Love what you're doing with the KYD, which is now the KYDP. Keep your data and privacy really, really secure. Keep your metadata secure. And, this system, this program, this platform that you have really provides your customers the privacy that they deserve. And you want people to take their data back and stop surrendering their data. Right. Just by simply giving it away. So you've created this great platform. This has been a great show. I'm so delighted to have had you on the show. Thank you so much for coming to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Andrew, thank you for having me. I look forward to reaching out to you in the future. You have a good one as well.